7,000 seats, 2,000 tons of steel, 30 meters deep into Liverpool's bedrock. The numbers behind Anfield's transformation are staggering, but they tell only half the story. While the Premier League sleeps, an army of engineers and construction workers are quietly turning this historic football cathedral into something that will change the game forever. For generations, the Anfield Road End has been the beating heart of one of football's most hallowed grounds. But in today's Premier League, sentiment alone doesn't pay the bills. With Manchester City's Etihad Stadium holding over 55,000 and Manchester United's Old Trafford accommodating 74,000, Liverpool simply couldn't afford to stand still. The numbers tell a compelling story. When the dust settles on this massive project, Anfield's capacity will surge to 61,000, making it the fourth largest stadium in the Premier League. But this isn't just about playing catch-up. It's about reimagining what a modern football cathedral can be. Let's dive into what £80 million actually buys you in today's football world. The centerpiece of this transformation is the brand new upper tier of the Anfield Road End, adding 7,000 new seats. But here's where it gets interesting. These aren't just any seats. The designers have pulled off something remarkable here. Despite adding an entirely new tier, they've managed to preserve that intimate atmosphere Anfield is famous for. The rake of the new seats is steep, keeping fans close to the action, just the way the cop likes it. The engineering behind this is absolutely mind-blowing. The construction team had to thread the needle between ambitious expansion and preserving the soul of this historic ground. They've used over 2,000 tons of steel, enough to build a small fleet of ships. But what's truly impressive is how they managed to build most of this structure while games were still being played. It's like performing open-heart surgery while the patient is running a marathon. Remember those narrow concourses that used to get so packed you'd miss half the match trying to grab a pie at halftime? They're gone. The new concourses are wide enough to drive a bus through with twice as many food and beverage points. And here's a detail that'll make old-timers smile. They've installed screens everywhere so you won't miss a second of the action, even when you're queuing for a pint. But this upgrade isn't just about adding seats and selling more pies. The new facilities include state-of-the-art media areas that look like something out of NASA mission control. There are new fan zones designed to enhance the pre-match atmosphere, which, let's be honest, was already pretty special at Anfield. They've even thought about the smallest details, like adding more toilets than any other comparable stand in the country. It might not sound glamorous, but ask any match-going fan, it matters. The environmental impact hasn't been ignored either. The new stand features rainwater harvesting systems, solar panels, and LED lighting throughout. It's all part of Liverpool's commitment to reducing their carbon footprint. Who says you can't teach an old stadium new tricks? One of the most fascinating aspects of this project is how it's changed the Liverpool skyline. The new stand towers over the surrounding area, creating an imposing presence that's visible from miles around. But here's the clever bit. The architects have managed to make it look like it's always been there. They've used materials and design elements that complement the existing structure, creating a seamless blend of old and new. Let's talk about the economic impact, because these numbers are staggering. The increased capacity means an extra 10,000 fans through the turnstiles every home game. That's roughly 500,000 extra supporters per season. In pure revenue terms, we're looking at an additional £15 to £20 million per year. For a club competing at the highest level, that's not just pocket change, it's the difference between signing a squad player and landing a genuine superstar. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of this whole project is what you can't see. The foundation work required to support the new structure was a massive undertaking. The construction team had to dig down 30 meters in some places. That's deeper than a 3-story building is tall. They encountered everything from Victorian sewers to unexploded World War II ordnance. Every problem they solved was another page in Anfield's rich history. The matchday experience has been transformed too. The new stand includes premium areas that redefine what hospitality means at a football ground. We're talking about restaurants with views of the pitch, exclusive lounges, and facilities that rival 5-star hotels. But importantly, they haven't forgotten the regular fan. The majority of new seats are general admission, keeping football accessible to the faithful who've been coming here for decades. Now, let's delve into some of the most remarkable engineering feats that made this transformation possible. The new roof structure is a masterpiece of modern engineering. It's supported by massive trusses that span the entire width of the stand without any supporting columns, meaning there isn't a restricted view in the house. These trusses were assembled on the ground and lifted into place in sections, each weighing more than a fully loaded commercial aircraft. The precision required was astronomical. We're talking millimeter-perfect placement of structures weighing hundreds of tons. The acoustics of the new stand have been meticulously designed too. The engineers used advanced computer modeling to ensure that the famous Anfield atmosphere wouldn't just be preserved, it would be enhanced. They've created what they call acoustic sweet spots, where crowd noise is naturally amplified and reflected back onto the pitch. The roof has been angled specifically to bounce sound back down into the stadium, making those European nights even more spine-tingling. The new stand's facade is another triumph of modern architecture. It features a dynamic lighting system with over 10,000 individual LED lights that can be programmed to create stunning visual displays. On match nights, the entire stand can pulse with color, react to goals, or display massive animated patterns visible from across the city. But it's not just for show. The system is incredibly energy efficient, using less power than the old floodlights did. The construction process itself was a masterclass in logistics. The team used cutting-edge 4D modeling technology to plan every single day of the build. They could virtually step through the construction sequence, identifying and solving problems before they occurred in the real world. This technology allowed them to keep the existing stand operational throughout most of the construction period, a feat that would have been impossible just a few years ago. When you look at the finished project, it's easy to forget that this was all achieved while maintaining the historical integrity of a ground that's been here since 1884. They've preserved original features where possible, including some of the old Victorian brickwork, which has been carefully incorporated into the new design. They even discovered some artifacts during the excavation, old programs, tickets, and even some original turnstiles, which have been restored and will be displayed in the new museum space. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about creating a venue that can host world-class events year-round. The new facilities mean Anfield can now host major concerts and events during the off-season. The revenue potential is enormous, but more importantly, it keeps the stadium alive and relevant to the wider community. Speaking of the community, this project has created hundreds of local jobs, both during construction and permanently. The club worked closely with local residents throughout the process, ensuring that this massive development would benefit the entire area, not just the football club. They've improved local infrastructure, created new public spaces, and even incorporated community facilities into the design. When you stand on the Kop now and look across at the new Anfield Road end, you can't help but feel a sense of pride. This isn't just about keeping up with other clubs, it's about setting new standards. The attention to detail is extraordinary, from the way the acoustics have been designed to amplify the crowd noise, to the subtle nods to club history incorporated into the architecture. The old Anfield Road end was loved, but it was a product of its time. This new structure is built for the future while respecting the past. It's a delicate balance, but Liverpool have absolutely nailed it. When the floodlights catch those new steel girders just right, and you hear 61,000 voices singing "You'll Never Walk Alone," you realize that some things haven't changed at all. They've just gotten bigger, better, and even more special.